Hi guys, I'm going to show you how to repair a hole in your net. The first thing I do is I put it on the bale, just so that it's easier to see the size of the hole that you're working with. It also is going to keep it, from just collapsing. It's really hard to find a hole when it's in a pile on the ground. So we put this piece of board back here so that you guys can see a little easier what I am doing. I'm going to be using our repair twine, and I'm going to take out a large chunk, probably 5 feet or so. If you don't have that much, you can use quite a bit less if you are resourceful. So this hole is quite large, as you can see, and there's a couple different ways to do this, and the way that I've always found that stays repaired the longest is to just basically take this and sew it shut. I'm going to cut off that piece there just so that I know what I'm looking at. Any of the fringes makes it easier to know exactly what you're looking at. All right, so what I'm going to start with is there's a little thing here. I'm going to just bunch all of that together and tie a traditional kind of granny knot. And you can leave a longer tail if you want at this point. Just make sure that what you're doing, the most important thing you're doing is making sure that these knots are tight. We're going to take the end of the twine and we are going to go one mesh at a time, and we are going to put it through, and then you're going to have this loop and you're going to pull that tail right through the loop. And we're going to go above and below every group of knots that you're pulling together. So this one's going to go here. And as you can see, I pulled it through. So it's going to be just a bunch of knots above and below the first and the second and the third groups of the knots on the net. And then you're going to pull it nice and tight. Now this is 1.25 inch net. It's actually quite old. As you can see, it's kind of bulked up a little bit. Our netting does tend to do that as they get used. So this shows that you can repair basically any mesh size that you have. When you go and you're sewing and repairing your nets, you want to make sure that you do not have the twine in between your knots any longer than the mesh of the net you're working with. You want to make sure that you are doing your best to make sure it's as tight as possible. That way that it doesn't ever come loose and create a safety issue. So we've gotten to the end of our hole that we're repairing. So at the end, you're gonna wanna do kind of like what you did in the beginning. There we go, forgot to tuck that one through. And you're gonna go above and below the last group of knots on the net. And you can go back and forth as many times as you feel like you need to, and actually, when you think you've got enough, I would do one more knot. The reason why is because you do not want this to come loose. This is very important. Safety is very important when you're dealing with this. All right, so when you get to the end, you're gonna wanna pull it to make sure it's as tight as possible. And then at the very, very end, you're just gonna tie a little knot like you would like when you're tying your shoes or whatever, just so that it doesn't pull through. And I'm gonna do the same with the tail at the top, just so that it is one extra little safety knot, just to make sure. Probably should have done that first, but hindsight, right? There we go. And then you're gonna cut off your extra and you're good. Net repaired. Zip ties are a big no-no. I know they're quick and I know a lot of people do it, but when you cut this off, there is a sharp spot that, if not careful, can really scratch up your horse, could get an eye. I do not recommend this on a repair on a net because a lot of horses will rub their head on the net and that's just not safe. Another thing people do is baling twine. All different colors, all different types of material. I don't recommend this because what I have found is that when you put it on a type of netting, what you're going to notice is the horses are going to gravitate right to that spot because it's a different texture, and they will work on it and it does not have the strength to hold up. So what we suggest is our repair twine. On your nets that you get a piece of repair twine. It holds your tag on. Keep this piece of repair twine. If by some reason you guys like throw this away, you never know, it happens. Give us a call. We can send you a small little piece, or you can order a whole roll of repair twine. Our repair twine is made out of the exact same type of material that your net is made out of, except it is waxed. And so when it is waxed, it has a gripping component that it tightens on itself, and when you tighten it up, it is a bugger to get untied. So because it's the same color, UV treated, it's the same material, and it is a little bit more grippy, your horses are not going to pick at it as much as they would baling twine or a zip tie. So we really suggest this. It's safe, it's going to have the same breaking strength as your net, and it's going to basically make your net have a lot more life left in it. See ya!